The red and blue strobes of police lights danced across the glassy surface of Willow Creek, a quiet stream cutting through the rolling hills of Maplewood, Tennessee. He can't park that thing here. It's against the rules. Arrest him now. The officers exchanged puzzled looks, their flashlights sweeping from my RV to me, then back to Margaret, who was flailing like she owned the whole damn creek. Then one cop, calm as a summer breeze, said something that made her shriek so loud it echoed through the hills. But before I tell you what he said, let me back up. This wasn't just about an RV or a cabin. This was about one woman's obsession with control, a battle over freedom, family, and the right to live your life. And it taught me that sometimes the kindest thing you can do is stand your ground, no matter how hard the fight gets. It all started a month earlier when I decided to park my RV by the cabin for the summer. I wanted my sister, Sarah, and her kids, Noah and Ava, to have a place to stay when they visited. After Sarah's messy divorce, those kids 6 and 8, all giggles and wide eyes, needed a break, a chance to roast marshmallows and chase fireflies. The RV was perfect for that, a home on wheels where they could camp under the stars and make memories worth keeping. But the moment I rolled that rig onto my gravel drive, trouble came knocking. Margaret was the kind of neighbor who made neighbor sound like a curse. Mid-50s, with a tight perm and a voice like a drill sergeant, she was the president of the Maplewood Homeowners Association, a group that lorded over the fancy gated community across the creek. My cabin, though, sat on a patch of land outside their reach, a fact Margaret couldn't stomach. The first time she saw the RV, she stormed up my drive, arms crossed, lips pursed. "You can't park that here," she snapped. "It's an eyesore. It drags down property values." I looked at the oak trees towering around us, the creek glinting in the sun, and my little cabin standing proud. "Margaret, this is my land. No rules against it." She smirked, like she knew something I didn't. "We'll see about that." She wasn't bluffing. Over the next few days, Margaret turned into a one-woman surveillance team. She snapped photos of my RV from every angle, stood on my dock with binoculars like a hawk eyeing prey, and even slipped a note under my door: "Remove the eyesore or face consequences." I laughed it off at first, thinking she'd tire out. Then Sarah and the kids arrived. Noah ran barefoot to the creek, shouting, "Uncle Ethan, this is going to be the best summer ever." Ava giggled, chasing dragonflies. That's when I knew I wasn't moving that RV for anyone. But Margaret wasn't done. One day, she showed up with store-bought cookies, all fake smiles, trying to sweet-talk me into joining her HOA. "You'd love the benefits," she cooed. I said no, polite but firm. Her smile vanished. "Don't say I didn't warn you," she hissed, stomping off. 2 nights later, tires crunched on my gravel drive. My stomach sank. Sarah peeked out the cabin window, whispering, "Ethan, what's happening?" I stepped outside to find Margaret pacing beside her SUV, barking into her phone. Minutes later, sirens pierced the night. 2 cops rolled up, their lights painting the trees red and blue. Margaret charged forward, pointing at me like I was a criminal. "There he is. Arrest him. He's breaking HOA rules with that monstrosity." Noah and Ava peeked out the door, scared. Sarah's voice shook. "Are they really gonna arrest you?" I stood frozen, torn between anger and disbelief, until the older cop turned to Margaret, his face calm but firm. "Ma'am, the HOA has no jurisdiction here." Silence hit like a hammer. The creek's soft ripples and the cruiser's hum were the only sounds. Margaret's face twisted, and she let out a scream that could have woken the dead. "What do you mean, no jurisdiction? I'm the president. I make the rules." The younger cop, less patient, lowered his flashlight. "No, ma'am, you don't. This property's outside your boundary. He's not breaking any laws." Margaret's jaw dropped, but she kept ranting. "That can't be right. I've lived here for 20 years. I bit back a laugh as Sarah whispered, "Is it over?" I shook my head. I knew Margaret wasn't the type to quit. The cops checked my ID, confirmed the cabin was mine, and told me I could park whatever I wanted on my land. Margaret's knees wobbled as they drove off, but her eyes burned with something darker than defeat. "You'll regret this," she whispered before storming away. That's when the real fear kicked in, not her screams, but that cold, calculated smile. A week later, I woke to find all 4 RV tires slashed, deep cuts from a knife or box cutter. Then an envelope appeared under my door with a photo of me, Sarah, and the kids laughing on the porch, taken from the woods. The word enough was scrawled across it. That night, another envelope held a USB drive with a grainy video of a masked figure rattling the RV's door, whispering, "You don't belong here." Sarah's hands trembled as she watched. "They're watching us, Ethan." My blood ran cold. This wasn't about property anymore. This was personal. Things got worse. One stormy night, headlights flooded my drive. 3 cars pulled up, blocking the way, with orange cones and a sign reading, HOA checkpoint. Margaret stood in the rain, bullhorn in hand, shouting, "This property violates community standards." A man in a blazer claimed they were protecting property values, but when I called the sheriff, they scattered. Then, at midnight, a truck rolled in with a trailer marked property storage, seized vehicle unit. The driver waved a forged document with Margaret's signature, claiming the RV was illegal. Tom, the bait shop owner who'd become my ally, stood with me, his rifle ready. "You're trespassing," he growled. The driver backed off when I dialed the sheriff, but not before they dented the RV's stabilizer jack. The next morning, a news reporter named Laura aired our story: vandalism, threats, forged papers on local TV. Neighbors rallied, strangers sent support, and the county prosecutor launched an investigation. But Margaret, from jail, called me. "You think shining a light makes you safe?" she purred. "Shadows always wait." Her voice chilled me to the bone. The breaking point came 3 nights later. A chainsaw's roar tore through the night, followed by the crash of falling trees near my property line. I ran to the dock, spotting 2 figures in a boat speeding toward us, one waving a chainsaw, the other splashing gasoline near the RV. Sarah screamed, the kids cried, and Tom raised his rifle. Deputies arrived just in time, firing warning shots. The men dropped their tools, arrested for attempted arson. But even with Margaret behind bars, her people kept coming. A text arrived at 2:47 a.m. "You think jail can hold me forever?" Then, a final note taped to the RV, stuffed with a matchbox. "This ends when you leave." Federal investigators stepped in, calling it interstate harassment. More arrests followed. HOA board members, the chainsaw guy, all tied to Margaret's orders. Her face, scowling in an orange jumpsuit, filled every news channel. But as I sat on my porch, watching Noah and Ava chase fireflies, I knew she wasn't done. A flashlight flickered across the creek, steady and deliberate. Someone was still watching. The RV stood scarred but proud, a testament to our fight. Sarah squeezed my hand. "You did this for us." I shook my head. "We did it together." Kindness, I learned, isn't weakness, it's a backbone forged in fire. Margaret thought she could bully us into submission, but she didn't count on neighbors like Tom, reporters like Laura, or a family that wouldn't break. Her last words echoed. I always get the last word. But mine was simpler. No. Where are you reading this from? A small town where neighbors have your back, or a city where HOAs rule with an iron fist? Have you ever faced a bully who tried to steal your peace? Did you fight back with kindness, or did you have to get loud? Share your story below. Let's hear how you stood your ground. And if this hit home, give it a like, subscribe, and tell me, should Ethan keep fighting, or is it time to move the RV and walk away?